there's a rumor going around that on May 1st, something new will go into effect. And that is a federal rule to hike payments for good credit score home buyers to actually subsidize riskier borrowers with a lower down payment or a lower credit score. What is going on with this rule? Is it true? What's happening? Why are we hearing these rumors?
Yeah, great question. So first of all, these changes were announced in January, but nobody said anything. And then a guy read the changes, misunderstood them, wrote a fear-mongering article last week, and then this article was picked up by Fox News, Wall Street Journal, CNN, Yahoo Finance, Dave Ramsey. No matter where you are on the political spectrum, everyone picked it up, thought they understood it. Nobody understands it. So let's talk about what's actually going on.
Okay.
All right. The changes that have been implemented involve what we call LLPAs. LLPAs are loan level price adjustments. And these are adjustments to the cost of an interest rate depending on your qualifications. If you ask anybody, does an 800 credit score borrower deserve the exact same interest rate and costs as a 500 credit score borrower? Nobody would say, yeah, they get the same thing, because we understand the guy with an 800 is probably more trustworthy to lend to than the person.
It's less risk for the bank, less risk for the lender. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So what happened? Well, in January, Fannie and Freddie, the two people that buy loans from lenders all over the country, they decided we're going to change some LLPAs around. And by and large, things actually got better for anyone, no matter the credit score, depending on how much money you're putting down. All right, so let's look at this. New LPAs versus the old. In Lake County, their average sale price is about $250,000. Let's say that you're putting 5% down on a conventional loan, which is the lowest amount you're allowed to put down if you're not a first-time home buyer. How would these new LLPAs affect you? Okay, well, under the old LLPAs, if you had a 780 credit score, you would have had to pay $1,781 for a given interest rate. It doesn't matter what interest rate, it could be 4 or 5, 6 like that. All right. If the 640 credit score borrower wanted to get the exact same interest rate, he would have had to pay $8,906 to get that same interest rate. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, with the new LLPAs, you'll notice what has happened. It's actually much better for that 780 credit score borrower today. It's dropping from 1781 all the way down to 296. And it's a lot better for the person with worse credit. His price goes from 8,900 down to 4,156. Now you'll notice what happened. The gap between the high credit score borrower and the low credit score borrower has definitely shrunk. It used to be, $7,000 cheaper to have good credit.
Right.
Now it's, $3,900 cheaper, but it's still better. And I think what happened was there was actually a chart going around that showed the change. It didn't show the actual cost, but it showed the change. And you'll notice that in these lower credit score bands, the change was better than it was in the higher credit score bands. Okay. So somebody believed that meant this was a subsidization from high credit score borrowers to help low credit score borrowers, buy houses. But if you look at this chart, and it's very complicated, and you don't need to get too in depth into it, right? And I don't blame the person that misinterpreted the chart. It's very complicated. But if you do look at this chart, you will see that at no point is it better to have lower credit than it is to have good credit. If you're putting 30% down, you get that for free at 780. If you're below 639, you got to pay more than 2% for it, right? If you're putting 10% down, you get that for only 0.25 at 780. You got to pay 2.625 if you've got a bad credit score. Now, again, it's true that this old number was probably in the threes, but it is not true that low credit score borrowers are going to be paying less than high credit score borrowers for the same loans.
There are no subsidies going on here.
There are no subsidies going on. Bottom line, don't worry, and please don't miss a credit card payment because you're trying to make your credit score worse because you think this is going to help you get a better interest rate. It will not. Keep making all your payments.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much for clarifying that. And I have one more question when it comes to that cost that you're talking about. when does the borrower pay that amount?
Great question. That's the other source of confusion. I've seen a lot of places like this means it's an extra $40 a month for this person throughout the life of the loan. No, that's probably not the case. All right. This is a closing cost. So if that borrower, that cost that was associated on that chart I showed you earlier, that would be something he would have to pay at closing. If he doesn't have that money at closing, he can just take a higher interest rate and then he doesn't have to pay that. That's usually what a lot of people would do. You know, a lot of times the 640 credit score borrower will not have an extra $4,200 to get that same rate. So what he'll do is he'll take a higher rate, right? Okay. Same with you could also pay even more money to get an even lower rate if you want it. Again, you can have any interest rate you want. It's just how much do you want to pay for it.
So basically, it all depends on how much cash you're going to bring to the table or you're able to bring to the closing table.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Then the more we have saved, the better off we'll be, right?
Always.
Okay. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you for having me.